Silence, please.
Welcome to MIA, Mixed in America. I am your host, Damian Dorn, aka Mr. Green Bay. This is the show where you go to hear truth, facts, and experience from black to white, exposing the gray area behind the stereotypes of America.
This particular episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to invite a guest on that I've had the pleasure of knowing for a good portion of my later life. I would say about 8 years now. And him and his father have had a significant impact on my redevelopment. So I'm super honored to be able to have this guest on and for this particular topic that he chose to be a part of. Without being too over the top with the introduction, just know that this man is on fire. This man is 100% a go-getter, 100% a winner. He's a father. He's a son. He's going to tell you his story. I mean, I'm sure it's a wild one, so we're just going to let it all out here today. I'm super excited to have you on Mixed in America. My name is Damian Dorn, and I am the host, and let's welcome today, everybody, Mr. Tunnell, Chocklon.
Thank you so much, David. Let's get it, big bro.
Yeah, so welcome, man. How are you?
Oh, true, man. Extremely blessed to be here today, man. This is awesome. On a Monday, usually I'd be in surgery right now, but I've got the day off, so no cases. But thank you for inviting me on with this podcast, man. It's incredible.
Oh, man, that's awesome. We're going to get into the surgery part, man. And, I'm so glad to have you. Thank you for God aligning this opportunity to strike, because it's going to be a powerful talk, that's for sure. And I can't wait for the fans to hear it. So let me just start off by saying, so this is Mixed in America, give you a little bit of background. Obviously I'm a mixed man. You are yourself. So you understand that there's some challenges that we had. I don't know necessarily how young you are, but I'm 45 years young. And there were some challenges in the 80s and 90s being a mixed individual from both sides of the tracks. Like, I'm just going to be honest. And so this podcast is really transparent. We don't sugarcoat anything on this podcast. I've had real talks with real individuals that told their real stories. So again, I'm going to encourage you to do the same. And this particular topic you chose, I'm going to name the topic, and then I want you to tell the fans why you chose this particular topic. Tell listeners why you chose this particular topic. So the topic Tunnell chose was risk taker versus excuse maker. Risk taker versus excuse maker. So please tell the people why you chose risk taker versus excuse maker first, and then we'll get a little bit into your story.
Well, I've been both. Okay, so I could definitely say,
Right.
definitely vouch for that. Definitely there's a lot of things that, we have different risks that we take, and we have, some excuses that we make, so
For sure.
sometimes it could be more or less on both sides. So it's definitely something to definitely jump into.
So thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us what you do, where you're from, a little bit about your story, your background, what your target is, maybe a goal or anything that you have or anything that you want to discuss. This really is about you. Welcome to Mixed in America, Tunnell. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you once again, Damian. This is awesome to be on here. The day has come. And like saying first, the Mixed in America podcast, incredible that you're putting this information out there. And, this is really special. Not a lot of people, are in Mixed in America, or, that we haven't got much of a voice that we can talk about.
Right.
We have different sports athletes that are, winning championships that are Mixed in America. But it's great to be able to, get, more of a personal, one-to-one on how Mixed in America has been such a blessing in my life, and I know there's times that have been rough, but It's also a great, great part to be Mixed in America. So, thank you for even putting me on. And, I'm also 45.
What? Oh, okay. So we young. We young. We got plenty rotations left.
Yeah, definitely. Just God willing. Oh wow, whoops. God willing, all that. I saw it was a message there, but that's the
You're all
awesome
good.
part, man. Yeah, so I'm 45. Also, and I'm actually from Seattle, Washington. Okay, my
Okay.
name is Tunnell Thomas Chocklon. You can see up here. I like to, put the Chocklon place on deck. I like to kind of say I'm, on the corner right now.
Right.
That's why I kind of have it set up. But definitely being out here mixed in America. 45 years old, from Seattle, Washington originally, and yeah, I actually moved to Denver, Colorado, to play rugby. So
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
mixed in America. Being half white and half black. That there's different opportunities out there. I
Yeah.
played sports. When I was younger, football, obviously soccer, and
Right.
got into wrestling also. So
Okay.
a lot of great things that I was able to do young. Taking risks, and also
Right.
some excuses that I've made, in the past when it was in sports or different, phases of life. So
Sure.
definitely, I saw this subject you had saw on there that you had sent me, and I'm like, oh, this one for sure. Why? Because I've been both. So
right.
being
I love it. Let me ask you.
A lot better to do for me.
So let me ask you. So you're born in 77, I assume, right? 77 too? You're
Yep.
77, baby? Okay, me too.
March.
Yeah, me too. March 14th for me.
Yeah, March 8th. You're 14th. That's right.
Okay. All right. And then
March
my middle name.
Rule, baby.
I know that's right. Pisces power. I know my middle name is Thomas as well.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So my father's black. Your father's black, right?
Yep.
Mom's white.
Yep. Okay. Italian and Irish.
Oh, okay. So Irish and German. And I have a little French Canadian from my mom's side. So you grew up with both parents, one parent?
Yep, both parents out there in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
My parents separated, okay, when I was 7 years old.
Sure.
But they got back together when I was 15.
Wow.
So it's awesome how things work out in life. And that's what my mom and dad, like, they've always talked about. Like, they were the best of friends. Okay. Right. My mom being from Nebraska and my dad, being from Seattle,
Sure.
they came together in different times back there in the 70s.
Sure.
Being an interracial couple, that was definitely something that they had to go through.
That was a pressure in itself.
What they did.
Oh, yeah, that was a pressure in itself back in the 70s.
Right. And especially out there in Washington. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's really incredible that, being mixed in America, okay, it came from my parents that they did some sacrifices in life, to hold on strong, right. And I'm just so thankful for that. That's where my roots kind of began, and, getting into sports, and rugby came out into my life, throughout high school. And, that got me to New Zealand and Australia, played rugby out there. Sure. And ended up getting a contract here in Denver back in 2000. And wow. I love the sunshine. There's definitely rain and clouds in Seattle. It's a little bit gray, but Seattle gives a little bit more of that sunshine that I love. So that's how I got here. So it's been awesome.
So you're in Denver right now, or
yes?
Okay, cool. Colorado right now. Denver. So Denver. So you say you chose Colorado because of the sunshine?
Well, that was obviously a big one, and it was a risk. It was a risk to come out here anyway. Sure. Leaving Washington, it was a risk to come out here, but I knew that if I played and did well, that I could definitely be able to help the team. And little did I know that I'd be able to raise a family here. So it's awesome, man. I have 4 daughters and also a wife, so it's incredible.
Ooh, surrounded by women. Oh my goodness, you're a great man. I can't wait to dive in. Bigger man than me. I have 4 boys. So
for sure.
Yeah, man. And it's always a struggle. Can't raise each one the same way. And, you got to be always and ever growing as a parent, because these kids are smarter and smarter, and especially today's day and age with technology. But, so born and raised in Seattle, went to high school in Seattle.
Yep, out there, more of a suburb of Seattle, Renton, Kent, Washington area. So it's more of a suburbs of the inner city. It's I was in, more of the inner city and downtown, not necessarily downtown, but more in the CD, the Central District
Okay.
we talk about, in there in Seattle, then my dad works at Boeing. So he actually got a good job out there in Renton, Washington. And him being an engineer, at working at Boeing as a black man, much respect for him, going through the things that he did and always, having to try to prove himself to people. So that's how it happened.
And he did well, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. He actually retired from Boeing.
Wow.
Actually, about 3 years ago. So
wow.
It's been awesome. He's been able to live the retirement life now, too.
Wow. So, oh, man. So talking about breaking stereotypes. So this is what I love about Mixed in America. So I want to, if I can just pause right here real quick, just to kind of, unpack some of what you said. All right. So mom and dad, mom white, dad black. My mom was white, dad was black. My mom moved from Shawano, Wisconsin, met my dad down in Milwaukee, moved to Illinois. So it's kind of a similar situation, big city guy, little city girl or little country girl, right? So same scenario, right? But here's where it changes. And this is such a beautiful God given conversation right now, because I am the absolute polar opposite of lifestyle that you lived. Same year, same month, right? We're born the same year, same month, both. So black mom, white dad, black dad, white mom, same, right? You're on the West Coast, Seattle. I'm in the Midwest, Chicago. Okay. So same time frame, same eras. So this is so beautiful because my listeners that know me, they kind of know what I've grown through. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't hid anything about my past. So, man, family had you in sports at an early age. What was the earliest age you remember playing sports? Let's just unpack some of this stuff real quick.
Yeah, I definitely, 5, 6 years old, playing soccer.
Wow.
My dad was, big into wrestling and sports. And, my mom was one of my biggest cheerleaders in life.
Dope.
Where, taking me to practice, maybe my dad, was working at Boeing a little bit later in the day. My mom would be able to take me to practice and, pushing me, and my mom and dad being there, for the games. But soccer got into football, baseball, t-ball at first, but definitely was the sports and having my parents, cheer for me. And maybe there was times, my mom wasn't there and my dad would be there, or, maybe they were both together. There was times when, my dad would be doing, at work or something, and my mom would be there. So it definitely it was, they had a team effort in raising me and my younger brother. I had a younger brother that was also 2.5 years younger than me. His name was Tunnell. And that's what they did for us, man, was, keeping us, active, I should say,
for sure,
at a young age. And that translated to, through today.
That's awesome. So from 5 to college and beyond, you played sports. That was your life. Cause I heard you say you got signed to a team in Denver, and we'll talk about that. So from 5 to, let's just skip ahead to junior high school, playing sports in junior high school. What was your most predominant sport in junior high school?
Predominant sport, I go with football, but I was a really good wrestler,
Okay.
My dad,
so dual
my dad
sport.
was also a wrestler too. So triple sport.
All throughout school.
One sport every season. Oh yeah.
Wow.
My parents always wanted me doing something, and obviously, a lot of my friends were also athletes. Right. So that was the part to where I could also, hang out with my friends, but then also, showcase some of the skills God has blessed me with. And, obviously, you want to be able to go out there and prove, yourself at times, especially being mixed in America. You have it to where that people look at you that, they don't know if you're black.
Right.
They also see that they see you're black, but they don't know if you're Mexican or maybe you're, or whatever's going on. Cause I got my hair, it's easy to misconstrue. I got my mom's hair. Yeah. So I think that's one of the things with my parents was getting me into sports, but then also cheering for me, which was big. You know, my parents being my biggest cheerleaders, and then also seeing it to where I wanted to prove not only to my parents out there, you know, cheering for me, but also, you know, being you know, mixed in America, a light-skinned man, I wanted to go out there and show some of the talents that I had. Wow. You know, if I had to take out some of my aggression or some of the things I was feeling in life. My parents separated, okay, when I was 6, like I talked about, okay, and they got back together when I was 15. But my parents were always around. You know, I lived with my mom, and eventually I lived with my dad when I was 15, and my mom and my brother, we all moved together. But that was the thing, man. Like, my parents were always there. I think that's one of the biggest things, is that even though they were separated, they were always there for us. And, you know, that's what I love about it, that my parents, that they stuck together, you know, through the thick and thin, and even got stronger, you know, down the road. So that was big.
If you're a fashion model, fashion designer, artist, or a small business, and you're looking to showcase your skills, talents, or services, reach out to April Abib and let Ada Morte Entertainment handle all your services needs.
One of the biggest agendas of Mixed in America is to abolish the idea of racism. And I feel like the mixed race is going to be the catalyst for abolishing that idea, because if you're anything like me, we're going to dive into this now, is that we had to divide and we had the best of both worlds, but we still had to find within ourselves who we were inside both of those worlds, because we couldn't be too much one way or too much another way based on the society standards or principles or what have you. Did you feel like that? Did you feel like that in junior high school? Did you start to feel the pressure of being a mixed kid at that age? Because this is like, let's see, what's this, like 89, 90?
Well, that's the thing. I think it was more into, because that's the thing, like you said, that you had moved from place to place. And I can agree with that too. Okay. There was times when, you know, when my parents did separate, that my mom and I and my brother, we moved to a different area, okay, out there in Renton, Washington, Fairwood, okay. We moved to a different area, new school, okay, had to go through that. And, you know, my dad was still there, but then there was times my mom would move from one area to another area, you know, same city, but it's a different school. Okay, so I had to, you know, readjust with that. Me and my brothers had to readjust with that. And to where that was constantly having to, you know, readjust. And as I say, not reinventing myself, but, you know, letting people know who I was. Right. And I think that's one of the big things, that, you know, being mixed in America, that people see you're not like this person's supposed to look like, and you're not quite what this is supposed to look like. So I think that's one of the things that already, and you were saying that you feel that mixed in America, you know, is going to be able to, you know, help people to be able to adjust that. Yes, we are all have one blood. We all have one God. Like, it's going to happen to where, you see people that are not only black and white, but people might be, you know, white and Korean, or they might be, you know, Mexican and black. There's a lot, and the more over time, to where my daughters, you know, now my daughters are, you know, they have Hispanic, they have black, they have white, and you know, the environment also has changed. And think about the environment we were in. It was either you were more, you had black, you had white. Maybe there was more white than there was black in the area or whatever you were in. When I was in the suburbs, there was only a handful of brothers. Or as I say, people of color, okay, or maybe even you know, of Asian descent or whatever. And I think that's one of the things that you kind of had to, you know, to talk to different people that were, you know, of color, or just going out there and letting people know that, you know, I'm Tunnell first before I'm a black or a white man. I'm a man. I'm a young boy.
You know, that's interesting
to do that.
So for you having the sports aspect and being a triathlete, let's transition into high school. You know, you're now you're growing into your maturity. You know, now you're getting your swag about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know you're good, right? Like at this point, you know what you're good at, right? Walk us through that high school 4 years real quick. You know, how was it? You know, going in, did you have any issues being mixed in America? Like, did you notice that lunchroom was a little bit different?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. You're coming in to where I was in high school. It was 10th through 12th. Okay. Different schools they had 7th through 9th in the middle school range.
Okay.
Or some of different schools when we moved to different places, they had it from high schools from ninth grade to 12th grade.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
I had some things to where it was a big deal in ninth grade to where I had moved to a new school, okay, and I was new to the block, and not a lot of people knew me. A couple of my friends knew me from playing football, so I mean, I kind of had some other friends there, but there came a time when I was tested by the as I say, the school bully, okay, at our school, and he was.
There's always one. There's always one.
There's always one. In that also, I went from one bully at one school to another bully at my other school when I moved with my dad. Okay, so it was something that you have bullies that come in your life, but then there's times when you gotta let people know who you are, especially the bully. Okay, so I had that where I had to transition. When it came to the time, can Tunnell, hold his own? You know what I'm saying? He may be bigger, whatever, he's good in sports, but can he hold his own? Okay, when it comes to someone, being threatening to me.
Alpha.
I went through that. Yep, I went through that, and eventually I got the nickname Rock'em Sock'em, in my ninth grade year. I don't want to go into it because my dad, he wasn't too happy about me.
Respect the pops. We'll respect pops.
Yeah,
we'll
respect the dad. Respect Wally Chalk. But he did tell me. He called me before he came home. He was at Boeing and he called me, and he's like, the teachers tell me, the principal saying, "Hey, look, Mr. Chocklon, you need to come pick up your son because he got in a fight today." And it was the bully. I hold my own. And I did hold my own, whatever. But my dad, he's on the phone, and I'm at the school, and he's talking to me. He's like, "Okay, son, I'm on the way to come pick you up, but I want to know, was it worth it?
Nice.
Is it worth it for you getting in a fight, and now I got to come pick you up, and now you're suspended for 3 days? Was it worth it?" And I'm like, "Well, Dad, he's like, don't even say anything right now. I'm on my way.
Let me know when I get there.
When I come see you." Let me know when I get there. And my dad came pick me up. He left from Boeing, and sometimes people look at you crazy when, if you're leaving early from the job.
Right.
Especially with my dad being a black man at a predominantly fair-skinned job out there in Washington. So I thank God for my dad, man, because all the challenges that he went through, not only in the time that him and my mom were in with, being an interracial couple, but also my dad being a black man in Washington, okay, and all the things he went through. But yeah, my dad was on me that day, and my dad came and picked me up, and he'll tell you this story. And a friend of mine who I played football with, he saw my dad, because my dad kind of coached me in football, and he's like, Mr. Wallace, your son, man, it's good to see you, but your son, where did you teach him how to fight? And my dad was like, "Okay, well, it's good to see you. Let's go." And he took me, and I got in trouble, but my dad let me have it that day.
Right.
I was in ninth grade, so it's different than whip my butt. It was definitely that stare, that look, or that I'm disappointed in you. That got me that discipline to make me realize what I'd done wrong. But that was some of the things that high school. But then I came to my own, okay, because I had ninth grade. I had some things with my, I was getting older. I was kind of, smelling myself. I'm changing. I'm starting to get hair. Underneath my armpits, and I'm getting to a different kind of a age in life, and it came to a point when I had to move with my dad. Okay, so I lived with my dad when I was, 15, and my mom and my brother, they still lived together, okay, for a period of time. And I moved with my dad, and then it was a whole new area, whole new school, okay. But I had some of my cousin was there, so I had, family there, okay. But once again, I was the light-skinned cousin that no one knew about. Okay,
Right.
so I had to prove myself again, okay, was in sports and, even doing I used to people used to pay me to do Michael Jackson impressions
Nice.
during lunch. So that's how I
Nice.
used to make some extra money.
Okay, then.
I used to
Okay,
do
so
it because of
a
Michael
young
Jackson
entrepreneur,
and
a
put some
young
money in my pocket.
entrepreneur.
Yes, that was some of the things where I was realizing that I had some talents that God had given me, some things that I had picked up on that
Mhm.
I need to use them. Okay, so
Nice.
that, I guess, one of the things being a risk taker or
Yeah.
excuse maker, when people are telling you, "Oh man, Tunnell, do the Michael Jackson," and I used to have that from my mom and my dad when they would have Tupperware parties.
Sure.
When they would want me to entertain a guest, they'd be like, "Do the Michael Jackson, Tunnell," or do an
Right.
impression of
Butter
one of
him
our
up.
family
Butter
members.
him up.
Yeah.
Butter him up.
Yeah, and so I used to do all that, and I just kind of, coming into my own on who I was. That I was, not only an athlete, also I was good in school, but I was
Mhm.
also fun to be around and fun
Sure.
to hang around with, and someone that you could look to rather than just being the typical school black athlete.
Sure. You added value to every situation. So
Oh,
so
yeah.
high
yeah.
high school came around, 3 sports in, you graduate.
Blew it up.
Any scholarships out of high school?
No scholarships. I mean, I had a scholarship offer to a junior
Okay.
college for football,
Sure.
but I was playing rugby at the time,
Sure.
and I actually got I made the USA under 19s, under 19 years old high school rugby national team.
Wow.
So I made the national team, okay, to where we got to go play on a tour in Australia, okay, right after high school. But
Wow.
it was like a 3-week tour that we go to different parts of Australia.
Oh, man.
Our last one was in Sydney, okay, where we played the junior Wallabies, like the American Eagles is the national team for America.
Okay.
And then in Australia is the Wallabies, like a kangaroo.
Yeah.
I was on the national team for the USA. We played against Australia, and we got our butts kicked 138-3. Okay, and I'm the light skin, I'm the black athlete out there, only black athlete on this national team. Okay, and I'm playing in Australia, had a blast. I ended up getting a contract to play in Sydney, Australia, instead of going back home with my team.
Wow.
So I decided to take a risk. I took a risk in staying there, 18 years old.
What?
No, not going to college.
Wow.
I could have went to University of Washington.
Yeah.
I had a scholarship offer to play junior college for football, but I took a risk and I said, you know what? I can always go back to play football. I can always go back to play college rugby.
Sure.
I have an opportunity to play in Australia, 18 years old.
Good eye, Mike.
And this family was going to take care of me. Yeah, good eye, Mike.
Good eye, Mike.
Take care of me. It was awesome, man. Incredible. 18 years old.
Wow.
And obviously, you have different color skin, whatever.
Yeah.
People are like, "What's up? Where you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from America." Like, you're black. Oh, you're black. Oh, man, and they see. And I got to say this: being mixed in America or being, of color in America, you don't know how much you are a role model or someone that they look up to outside the United States.
Say that again.
When you get outside the United States of America, and you get into the international game, you as a mixed American or whatever you want to call it, you person of color, you're seen different. You're seen as strong, as resilient, as someone that's, fun to be around, or you're a celebrity, or a celebrity. Okay, you don't have to
something
be
to celebrate.
You don't have to be. Yeah, you don't have to be necessarily black. You could be an American, and you are freaking the top notch of the whole world.
Wow.
I think that people don't understand that. When you go outside the United States of America, you as an American, first as an American or a man or woman, you are looked as the freaking top notch of the whole world. Because the whole world is watching America. And then you add on that you're a person of color or you're mixed in America.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Wow. I mean, the people love you and the ladies love you at the same time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get out the United States and take a look and know how big you are.
Hey, trust me, I love you saying that. I love you saying that, man. That is such I just lived like literally like 30 years right there in that just little talk about just taking that risk. You know, this topic being risk taker versus excuse maker, like the amount of excuses you could have had, the amount of excuses you could have made. Oh my God, 18 years old. 18 years old. How old were you? Okay, so how long did you stay?
I stayed for 8 months. I graduated high school. This is funny. I graduated high school, right? Okay. And then they had the senior trip. Like I paid like $650 to get a senior trip. Went to Mexico, kicked it with my friends from high school, came back to the United States, back home. I had 3 days to hang out with my parents, whatever. And then I flew to LA and then flew to Melbourne, Australia. So as soon as I got to high school, it was on.
So, and then you were in Australia for 8 months.
Yep. Kicking it.
Hot.
Loving life, freaking being 18, being, I think Jodeci, I remember there's a Jodeci release party that people were all like, you must be with Jodeci, and all these people around me. And, I'm mixed, but I'm in Australia. They used to say, Australia, stop trying to be like America. Okay. Oh. So you being an American, when you go outside the United States, people freaking either they adore you or some of the Australian men, they don't like you.
Yeah.
Because they know that the ladies love an American man. American boy, baby.
8 months passed. You eventually come home. What inspired that transition home? What inspired that transition?
I came home. What inspired the transition to come home is because I needed to look out for my younger brother. There were some things that were happening with my younger brother that I needed to be a bigger brother. I needed to be a brother, and I needed to be around him because
straight up.
I had carved such a path. You tend to think that you have a sibling that, oh man, I carved the path for you, bro. All the coaches, they love you. All the girls, they know you're my, we're brothers, whoop to whoop. But there was times when he was acting out, and I wasn't there, even though I was doing my own thing. I needed to be a brother, and my dad, my dad was there, of course, but there was things that I needed to help my brother with, and kind of help him,
and just be a big brother,
back to be focused.
Right,
just be a big brother.
That's dope. And that's dope. So you were still a young man that took on that responsibility. So, I mean, just not even 19 yet, decided that, you know what, this was fun, Melbourne. I'm flying back to the States. I'm going to go do what a man does. And that keeps his family together. So what happened then? What did you decide to do for yourself besides, the family stuff professionally? What happened for Tunnell at that point?
Well, that was the thing. Like, I had the choice to where I could, I played international rugby. So I was at an international status, like not just freaking local college level rugby. I was way up. And then you have like college, then you have men's rugby, and then you have international rugby. Okay. But I was 18, 19. I could have went down and played college rugby. Sure. And would have just crushed it and would have done well. But I was already at a level where I was way up here with my international and my rugby game. Okay. I was way above the game. So I didn't go back to college. I didn't play college rugby. But I also had a men's team that was there in Washington, okay, that would, want me to play for them, of course. I played for them a little bit, okay. I went to school. I went to Highline Community College. When I came back home, my brother in town, I'm back with my brothers going to school, and, I'm going to school also. And, there was things that I was, itching to do. I couldn't go back to doing college rugby. Well, I got an offer to come here to Denver, Colorado when I was 19. So it was a full year after my graduating high school. I had an offer to come play rugby for a men's team by my high school principal. He moved from Seattle because his wife got a principal job here in Colorado. So he had nothing to do except coach rugby if he wanted. He called me, was like, Tunnell, I know you just got back from Australia. I know you're in school now. Would you like to come to Denver and live here? I'll pay for your place. I'll get you a place to stay. I'll get you a job. Whatever you need, I got you. So that's what got me. And my brother was kind of doing his thing, and I was like, either I can stay here in Washington and,
make excuses.
Be here.
Right.
I mean, let's make excuses on why I didn't go, but I could have went to college. I could have went to rugby, played for University of Washington or stayed local. But I think the thing was that I had an opportunity where I could live in Denver, and it was a risk once again, but I was like, this is a shot that you might not get to take. I can always go play rugby. I can always go to college. Let's do it. So I went for it. And then it made 300 days of sun here. Okay. And what that led me to was telling my mom, like a season later, I called my mom and dad, was like, hey, mom and dad, I'm really enjoying it here. And my parents were like, son, you can come back home. We got you. You come back home, mom and dad. And I'm like, well, mom and dad, I really love the sunshine here. I really love being here. I think I'm gonna make it a way. I'm gonna make it a go here.
Wow.
I decided to do that. Little did I know I would meet my wife. I would get into the medical field. I would get into the network marketing industry. And that led me to meeting you. And that got us to here today.
Straight up.
Because
that
of
risk.
Things that happen, risks.
Yeah, man.
Keeps on coming.
That was a risk. So that was another huge risk. So let's talk about risk reward now. So you give an example of risk reward, in my opinion. So easily could have made excuses not to go to Melbourne. Easily could have said, you know what? I came here for my family. Let me stick here for my family. Right. That's number one. And nobody would call that an excuse. They would salute you for that. And God would open up some other doors for you. Right. But you said, you know what? I'm a risk taker though. Like this, I'm weighing out this opportunity. I'm weighing this out, and it just makes sense just to go. Let me see what they talking about. And you went, and you met your wife. You got your career. You got your side hustle. And you got a beautiful family, and you're in the medical field. So let's talk about how old were you? So this is 1996 or so, right? You moved to Denver, 96, 97, somewhere in there?
96. I was 19 years old, yeah.
So 96, 19. You moved to, so 1996, you moved to Denver.
Well, let me make sure I say this right. I moved to Denver as soon as I knew that I paid for my parking tickets. I made sure my license was good and legit. So I wasn't because those times I was bending corners, out there in Washington, driving a suspended license and things like that. I made sure I was legit. I mean, I made sure I took care of my, self. As I said, myself first before I could leave. Because there's times when you got to get away from your environment or the environment that you grew up in. And for me, I could have stayed. But like you said, man, I had to make that move. I had to get out of there and make a change.
And you did, and a magnificent one. And we're gonna fast forward to how we actually met in a moment. But so you're 19, Colorado, playing on this team. Woo! I'm sure you're killing it on the team. Did you make any records, trophies, or championships, or anything to speak of? Want to give a shout out to anybody on this squad? Or
we actually it was my 97. We won. We beat everybody here, but then we went to nationals. I think we got like 9th place in the national tournament.
Nice.
That was not the nation. Yeah, it's not
10.
Bad, you know, but
top 10.
It's top 10. You're right.
Yes, sir.
There's times when you're like, oh, I should get first, second, third, but like, look, bro.
But man, you're top 10 in the nation.
So thank you.
Yeah, man, top 10 in the nation. Like, come on, man. Like, I have the absolute pleasure of knowing an individual that was top 100 in the nation in basketball players. So, wow. in his day, you know what I mean? Like top 100 basketball players, you know. So awesome. I don't necessarily look at, like, not everybody's Mayweather, right? Not everybody's Kobe, right? But man, just to be top 10. So top 10, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Living it up.
Right?
Living
23,
21.
20.
I got a deal to move to, I met a friend out here in Denver. He played in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
He offered me to play in New Zealand on
Shut the front door.
When I was 20 years old.
Shut up.
I did 2 seasons here in Denver. Went back home for a minute.
Sure.
Got a contract to play in Wakatani, New Zealand.
Wow.
Auckland, New Zealand. Auckland's is capital. It's in the North Island. You have the North Island and you have the South Island of New Zealand. Sure. Auckland is in the middle. I got a contract in Wakatani, New Zealand. 20 years old. Okay. Went out there, kicked it, turned 21 years old out there. Drank a big, huge yard glass that you drink when you turn 21. Lived that up. Then played a season, got out of there, came back home, and then came back, got another contract here when I was 22.
Wow.
Came back here again.
Look,
and then that's when I
Okay, so let's go to New Zealand. Let's go back to New Zealand then, because talking about being mixed in America, boy, but what about being mixed in New Zealand?
Like, it's actually quite great because it's incredible because there's what are called Maori or Maori. You could say Maori. Which is you have Kiwis, okay, which you have Caucasian or fair skin, and then you also have Maoris that are more islander, okay? Some might be from, different countries, Pacific Islands, Samoa, Fiji.
Right.
A lot of different types of people out there. You have the Maori, okay, that are, also a little bit darker skin, okay? So when you go out there, when you go out there, when you're mixed in America and you go to New Zealand, they're like, hey, what's up, right?
Right.
Like, hey, what's
no
up,
problem.
What's going on? They're like, wait, you from America? Because if they just look at you, they'll be like, oh, they're probably a Maori.
Right.
They're what they call half caste. Half caste, meaning you're half Maori or you're half white.
Wow.
That's called half caste.
Half caste. Nice. Yeah.
So
that's mixed in America, caste. Right? So we'd be called half caste. Right. So cool. So you had fun down there, came back to the States, landed back in Colorado, didn't go back to Washington, landed back in Colorado.
Yep.
And then caught another contract.
Well, got a contract with the Denver Barbarians. Okay, out here. And
congratulations.
There was the Barbarians, and then I got with the Raptors. But it was awesome, man, because my coach was there for me. And that's the thing, like risk versus risk reward. That I was able to, the relationships that I built through my career, it got me to New Zealand. It got me back here to Denver. I think it's one of the things, like, risk takers versus excuse makers. You got to be a risk taker because you might not know that risk that you take could, or that relationship that you make could turn into something where it's a bigger opportunity for you.
Right.
Rather than making an excuse on why not to do it.
Right. Absolutely, man. That's huge. So then come back, get your new contract, and you meet the lady of your, that changes your world, man. Right? Like, is that how that happened?
Oh yeah.
And then she introduced you to the medical field?
Like No. I've always, it was weird. Like I kind of always enjoyed like, I don't know, I always was curious about looking at surgery. You know, like when we were younger, you know, like the Discovery Channel, or
yeah, I played Operation all the time.
The PBS, PBS
Operation. Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. I loved it.
You remember PBS?
Mm-hmm.
PBS, or they would put on like late night. There'd be like surgery, and you know, I'll be watching that for some reason. I enjoyed watching it.
Sure.
So that got me, you know, looking at it. And I was at home one day, and I was looking at, you know, TV, and I think I was watching, I don't know, maybe Springer or somebody. You know how it is, you know, hanging at home sometimes back in those days, or you're watching BET videos.
Yeah, I definitely. And back in them days, it was MTV. MTV Raps, like The Basement, right? You know, huge. Like it was. Yeah, it was. Right. So yeah, for sure.
Or Unplugged or whatever it was, but it was just like a commercial, and I had heard about the surgical technician position, and that, I never heard about that before, and like talking about, I mean, I didn't want to be a doctor and I didn't want to be a nurse, but I heard about, I was like, wow, a surgical nurse, wow, what do they do? Oh, okay, well they make sure that the patient, you know, doesn't have anything left in them. Oh, okay, I can do that. Okay, they can count. Okay, I can count. You know, so that led me to that. And, you know, my wife, man, she's done so much, you know, for our children that, you know, there's times that I'm not there, like I was for my parents. When my dad wasn't there, my mom was there. Like with us, when I'm not there, my wife is there for our children.
Teamwork makes
and they're getting
work.
older in age now. Yeah, and they're getting older now, so you know they enjoy working, and they have that go-getter, you know, risk-taker type of you know, attitude, and I love that. You know, my wife, she's in the criminal justice, and she's also a risk-taker. You know, being a female, you know, in the correctional industry, she's actually looking to be a warden here, so she's really doing a lot to be like a female warden is a big deal. So she's a big risk-taker, you know. So I definitely got to have a risk-taker in life.
Your wife is working towards.
She's she's working toward to be a warden right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Bro.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
The relationship.
She does really well.
So the relationship budded right at 22, 23. When did you meet?
Relationship came through at 23 years old. 23. Yeah, I met her. I was out here hanging out, you know, I think it was at a club, and I don't think I know you, because you know when you meet her, you know.
Can't forget that. You know she might listen to this, so you want to say the right thing, right? No, I'm just playing.
I'm not worried. You talked about it, like we gonna keep it real, keep it all raw and uncut, and just you know, she did a lot. She does a lot for our family, and you know, so I'm really thankful for her. And like I said, man, there's times when she's there when I'm not.
That's beautiful. I really believe
times that happens.
I really believe that's where wealth is built upon is that cornerstone of the household. So, you know, me, I'm a single dad, and I've been a single dad for a few years. You know, my story is, oh my gosh, but, and you know, I'm ready to be a king. You know what I mean? I'm ready to wear my crown. You know what I'm saying? And I know what I'm looking for. So if she steps up and shows herself, I'm going to be able to recognize her. And I'm excited for that opportunity that God gave me to be a young prince, you know, learn what that was, because I was a heathen once upon a time. So I salute you, brother, from a whole different perspective on relationships and, you know, longevity and commitments. Like, wow, man, like, for us to be the same age, same, you know, so many sames, and to have so many differences in life and life choices and things of that nature, and where it stems from the parenting, it stems from the support from the parents, you know what I mean? How you just were good fruit. You know, you were fed good fruit. And because you were fed good fruit, you were able to find and attract somebody that was perfect for you. And at 23 years old, 23 years old, made the decision that, yo, this is where I'm at. And so now, you know, fast forward, now you're in a medical career, family man. You touched on network marketing before, so let's dive in. When did you?
Yeah.
Was it 23, 25? When you start dipping and dabbling in network marketing? It was like 22 for me.
Okay. Well, and there were also, like, when I say my wife, she's my wife. We got married. She's my wife. Okay. It's okay to say she's my wife. We are currently separated.
Got you.
Okay. We live in two different homes, but
got you.
She's still my wife.
Right.
We got married. That's my wife. In God's eyes, still my wife.
Right.
Like I said, even though we live in two different households, that's still my wife. Okay. And I don't want to miss things. I don't want to mess things up because we don't live together. Okay. But we're separated, but we live in the same, area basically.
And you
I'm
co-parent.
pretty much following her. Yeah. I'm pretty much following or being right there, for, her and our kids. So yeah, definitely on that.
Man, that's huge.
I want to make
let's talk about that. So that's huge. So how long have you guys been separated?
We've been separated now 2022. We separated back in 2011, so it's been 11 years.
Wow, so a decade. Okay, so for a decade you've been co-parenting, and it's been successful. Is the mother of your children white?
No, she's Hispanic. She's Mexican.
She's Hispanic. Okay, so you got mixed kids.
She's from here.
Okay, so my point is you got mixed kids that are multicultural. Dope.
Correct.
Dope. And so you both decided that you were going to co-parent together, and still to this day. How old's your youngest?
My youngest, Kimora, she's 14 now.
Wow, my third. Okay.
Yeah,
boy.
she's 14. I got a 24-year-old, 18-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 14-year-old. All daughters. Okay?
Wow.
I'm thankful for them, and that's the thing, man. They with her mom and me, like they have that, and they know that their mother and I, that we love each other. And,
absolutely.
We know that there's been times when we know that they know that there's times when mommy and daddy, might not agree on things.
Sure.
Okay. So they've seen that. And there was times when we had to go ahead and make it better. Like you've heard it in the past. We're like, oh, we're going to do this for the kids.
Right.
We're gonna make this work out for the kids. But
man, I'll tell you,
it's not gonna work out when it's just for the kids. It's got to be for each other that it works out. Because it ain't gonna work if it's just for the kids.
That's true.
It ain't happening.
No, that's truth, and I'm a candidate of that. I was a kid in that situation. And I also, my 13-year-old was a decision based on that situation as well, where I was like, you know what, I got to go fend for myself so I can come back and take care of him. And so I made the decision to go get myself together and came back, and I've had custody. I've had custody of him since 2015 ish. So he's 13 now. That's great. Awesome. Summer school and, doing things. He starts piano classes tomorrow. So the fact that you're still, even though you're separated, and still dadding and still fathering and still, being obedient to God and God's will for you, that's amazing to me. And I salute you for that, brother, straight up. Coming from a different walk of life, like to be able to have that poise and posture through those tough times. So I appreciate you clarifying that. I definitely do, man. I think the listeners will gain a lot of value from hearing that transparency. So I really appreciate you leading through transparency like that. And for those listeners out there, I definitely want to make note of here we are, 45-year-old males, divulging real life situations, and understand that there's no weakness in that. So if you're listening and you're struggling and sick of being who you think they want you to be and ready to be yourself, let us encourage you to stop making excuses and take the risk of being exactly who you want to be, because it pays off in the end. So thank you so much for that, Tunnell. There's a difference between risk and risk, but what I hope people get from this conversation is that risk is definitely valued by the reward that it gets. So, man, it is an absolute pleasure. I definitely appreciate the conversation. I learned so much about you that I didn't know, man. International freaking star, man. Like at an early age, lived a rock star lifestyle like nobody's business. And man, got to live to tell about it, raising 4 beautiful young ladies that are going to seek a man of your caliber or better, which is also fantastic, right? Fantastic, right? Man, and just an awesome person, man. I appreciate you sharing an opportunity with me, and we can jump back on and talk about some financial literacy for our people as well in the later episodes. But man, from here on out, this is Mixed in America, man, and it's up to make the difference. So I appreciate you, Tunnell. Thank you so much for joining us in Mixed in America, man. You have a great one. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Blessings, y'all.
Peace.
Life is not so black and white, and there is too much gray area not to talk about it. Thank you for listening. Look forward to having you back next time as we discuss truth, facts, and experience, exposing the gray areas and stereotypes behind America herself.